Welcome to Iconic 24. My name is Michael. I am the customer success trainer here at Vagaro, and I'm happy that you're tuning into this session. Iconic is every Monday throughout September. Now today we're going to talk about diversification, unlocking new revenue, and growing your business. So I do want everybody to know, if you like making money, this is going to be the session for you. So feel free, just know there's going to be a lot of interaction in the chat. There's going to be a lot of polls. There's going to be a lot of things for you while you're here today. Now, I am so happy that I have the right person to talk about growing your business. He's the owner of Rich and Flesh. It's an amazing tattoo shop that is breaking barriers here with Vagaro and across the country. I am so happy that today I get to talk with my man, OC Thomas. How you feeling, brother?
I'm doing great, how are you?
Can't complain. So happy that we get to liven up this chat, liven up the live for everybody. But before we get into it, you're doing amazing things with your tattoo shop. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right, my name's OC. I'm an artist first and foremost, driven by passion. So I've been an artist since I was a kid. Started tattooing, found something that worked for me, opened up a business, and then started diversifying that and opening other types of businesses. But noticed that there was a lot of things that need to be changed within the tattoo industry. So, I've been tattooing for about 13 years. And early on, things were really old-fashioned. So I figured I wanted to modernize a lot of things that I seen.
Now, OC, doing something that you're super passionate about, there had to be a pivotal moment from when you're just doing it for friends and deciding that this was going to be your business. Can you tell me a little bit about a pivotal moment that made you say, this is what I'm going to do?
Absolutely. So I was always an artist. I tried many different mediums, and tattooing was my last one. I tried to do clothing. I tried to do graphic design. I went to college for graphic design, dropped out of college because it wasn't really fitting, and I tried to pursue a clothing company. Did that for a couple years. It didn't really pay. I ended up getting a regular job at a warehouse, and then found tattooing randomly. Some of the homies were like, "Hey, come tap me, you know? I'll give you $50. Just throw a name on me, you know?" Picked up a machine online, started working on them, and realized that not only was it really fun, but it paid money like right away. So it clicked, you know. From a college dropout, I felt like I was failing. Everything else I was trying to do artistically wasn't working, and then I found something that worked.
I love hearing that. Now, the one thing I have to say about Rich and Flesh is that it's not just tattoo. You happen to be one of those rare businesses that actually do barbering as well. Can you tell me a little bit about what made you decide to combine the two?
Yeah, actually, a lot of influence from how to run a business came from the barbershop industry. I used to hang out in the barbershop a lot when I was younger. And a friend of mine actually who owned the barbershop I partnered with on the clothing. So we did a clothing line. It did well, but it just didn't pay well, you know? People knew about us. And I was operating out of the barbershop, seeing how he operated. And it was always something that I aspired to do later, maybe, like open a shop or, you know, because I was business oriented at the end of the day. And then the opportunity finally came when a friend of mine I grew up with, like one of my closest friends, wanted to team up and open a business with me.
Okay.
So we opened a barbershop together, and I pretty much got the game on how to operate.
How's that experience been for you?
It's cool. It's a lot of up and down, but it's cool. It's very similar to the tattoo industry, where they pay rent. You know, it's rent based, and you make your own schedule, and it's really like a free spirited kind of job. You know.
Absolutely.
So they kind of fits well together.
So I gotta ask, and I'll throw this question in there for the chat as well. What has been some of the biggest challenges in owning your own shop?
Whew, it's a lot. When it comes to like finance, record keeping is really tough. People management is really tough. That's one of the hardest things, I think, is people management and dictating the workload. When you start to become a business owner, you might want to take everything on yourself. Especially me, I'm very like picky, you know, on everything. So when I feel like something's not getting done right, I always end up taking it on myself, and then you end up wearing 20 hats, you know? So figuring out where to take the workload really helps a lot with operations in general, and it makes everything run a lot smoother.
Okay, I love that. So I gotta ask you, in doing that, there's gotta be a way to make things a bit simple. How does Vagaro help make your business simple and with all the complexities that you have and running a shop? How does Vagaro make things simple for you?
So One thing I noticed about Vagaro, well, especially with our industry, I'll start from tattooing first because, I'm doing a couple different things. But with tattooing, I remember when I was coming up, I didn't realize how much I made per year. Like, you're getting paid cash every day. I didn't realize I broke into the $100,000 a year category until like 3 years in to making $100,000 a year. And I started keeping track.
Before you keep going,
Yeah.
everybody in the chat, we got to give an applause for that. Over $100,000 in your first few years, that's amazing. Please keep going. I just had to give you some flowers for your success
Thank
there.
you. But like, you wouldn't notice you're making that if you're not keeping track, And when I started keeping better track, I started to realize it. And then when I took on Vagaro, which pretty much keeps track of your day to day, it really changed the game for me. Like, I realized I made more than I thought I did, again, But what I try to push on all the artists that work with me is, like, know your worth, know how much you're making. Don't be like me, learn from my mistakes. Like, do things the right way, Pay your taxes, make your money, stop hiding your money, because a lot of times people were making cash and, oh, this is tax-free money. No, it's not. You know what I'm saying? No, it's not. You're gonna have to pay it eventually. Just do things correctly and manage it well. And then I guess adapt a system that works well. And that's what I really liked about Vagaro. I tried other platforms. Nothing really did everything. Vagaro does everything. You know what I'm saying? And when I realized that, I was like, this is gonna work for me. I just need to make my business fit this. And I didn't see other tattoo shops on the Vagaro platform, really. It was a lot of hair salons and other things. So when I took it on, I had to figure out how to format the business to fit it, And again, with the tattoo industry, traditionally, everyone worked through email. So it's like, oh, what do you want to get done? Email us what you want, how you want it, your phone number, like all this information that at the end of the day, I was missing emails, missing business, like so much lost conversations, and so much back and forth hours spent. Where when I took on Vagaro, it was really fluid, Everything's fluid. Like, we barely have to, I love talking to clients, but we don't have to talk as much, They could book with me, they could send me all the info they want to get done, and it's just a lot easier.
Now, because your shop does more than just one thing, what's been the biggest benefit of having a shop in a storefront that allows customers to do multiple things at the same time? I can come in and get a nice little haircut, then I can come get a tattoo at the same time. What's been the biggest benefit that you've seen of having that?
One thing I've noticed is that tattoo shops are a little intimidating. The average person wouldn't really walk into one, looking to get something. So when you're getting a haircut, you're bringing your kids in, and you just look through a glass and you see people tattooing, you're walking in there to ask questions, I have so much people that you wouldn't even assume would want a tattoo walking through the door now, asking for work. So it's brought a lot of work in from the barber side, from like a different walk of life, a different clientele, and vice versa. A lot of people are feeling good about their tattoo. They're looking in the mirror, but their hairline might be a little messed up, So they're just gonna walk over, get clean, and then enjoy their weekend with a fresh tattoo.
Indeed.
Haircut. It's just like a nice little, almost like a man cave type of vibe,
Have you seen that grows the business a bit more as well? Hey, like you said, I just got my fresh tattoo, but you know what? It is a Friday night. I'm not really feeling the look. Have you seen that happen a lot for yourself?
Yeah, it's grown the demographic for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, the one question I would ask you, so to you, to OC, what is the most important thing within business for you right now?
The most important thing within business for me, I would say the people managing, doing better at people managing, you know what I'm saying? Directing people. It's a lot of work being a leader, So I guess broadening my leadership skills more and more. As things grow, so does the hat you have, so does how heavy your tasks are, your responsibilities, So I'm always growing as well.
Okay. The reason why I asked that question, it was a setup. So I have a question for you, but I also have a question for everybody that's watching right now. What is something that you're most passionate about within your business?
I think what I'm most passionate about is kind of helping people reach that purpose or whatever they're trying to reach. Because I know how hard it is. I was self-taught artist, so it took me a long time to even get good, And if I can help expedite someone through that process and see them living their passion, their dreams, it makes me feel good, It makes me happy.
All right. So, OC, one of the biggest questions that I have for you, because it's important, right? What is diversification in business for you?
Diversification is not putting all your eggs in one basket. like I said, what I learned from COVID, I learned I needed to diversify, and not put everything in one, because you never know. So I kind of restructured my brand in general from being one thing to a multiple. And instead of being a tattoo studio, we became an art studio in general, where we bring in artists from different walks of life. So we brought in the hair studio, for barbers, and then we brought in the music studio, where we're creating media now as well, like filming and doing music, and just broadening it to adding more people in, and in return, it brings a lot.
So you say in return, it brings a lot. Can you tell me and expound a little bit more on the impact of diversifying your business?
Foot traffic, it expands the demographic to where in the beginning, I was only working on people who were interested in tattoos. Now I'm getting everyone who needs haircuts, into the shop, and other artists that are involved in music as well.
Okay. You mentioned earlier that you like to do your research before you do anything, before you even take step one. So what type of research did you do before you said, hey, diversifying my business is going to take me to that next level?
So with the barbershop, I had some mentors, thankfully, that I asked a lot of questions, and through experience I learned, and then eventually opened my own as well. So through the barbershop, I actually asked a lot of people who were in the trade. I was around it for a while, and I just asked 100 questions, and still have them on call all the time, who helped me. But when it came to the music studio, not only did I have to have the person who's passionate about it help me, but I also did a lot of research online. I utilized a lot of AI. I think AI is a great tool nowadays. I don't even use Google no more. I'll use AI to ask my questions, and it'll break down things for me way better. So using tools like AI has been helping me a lot.
With doing everything differently with your business, how does Vagaro help streamline it for you?
Yeah. Organization and structure. Yeah. Before, it's so hard to operate without a good structure and organization, You can be thinking you're being productive, but really not,
Absolutely.
So it just really helps us a lot in that aspect.
Okay. So I do want to ask a question for you and a question for the chat. With doing so many different things for you, what are some of the things that as a business owner that you're most passionate about?
At the end of the day, I think art, and like being creative. Being creative where I'm taking something and being different, Try not to like moving against the grain, I guess, like not trying to do everything as everyone else does, and being different is big to me. So creatively different with however we operate, however we do our business, I try to just move differently. And for me, that's really what I'm passionate about, because like when I got into the industry, like I said, I seen a lot that I didn't really agree with. It wasn't really modern. So by changing it, I like propelled myself. And I've noticed that when you move different and when you just are passionate about something, at the end of the day, you're going to succeed,
I like that. And everybody in the chat right now, please keep those answers coming. We love your feedback. Like I said, OC and I, we want you to make some money. So we love the feedback that you all are giving today. Now, besides standing out amongst the white noise, offering diverse services, it also helps generate new revenue. So have you seen a lot of revenue come from just adding the barbering piece to your shop?
Absolutely. So actually, one way it really helped me was when COVID hit. I was so thankful I diversified my businesses, because I wasn't able to operate as a tattoo shop. I lost pretty much most of my staff. I myself had to shut down, but my barbershop was still open. So if it wasn't for me diversifying, I don't think I would have withstood the whole COVID time, And it showed me how important it was to diversify and make sure that I'm not getting too comfortable or putting all my eggs in one basket.
Love that. Speaking of revenue, can you break down, COVID was a tough time.
Mm-hmm.
COVID was a tough time, but can you break down some of the ways that you saw that your revenue was increasing during that time frame?
Yeah, actually, a lot of people didn't know where to go. So a lot of people were contacting us like, hey, are you guys open? Are you guys open? So a lot of businesses were still, a lot of business was still coming, but it was just a shaky moment, But it was a big lesson. Those years were a big lesson on business, and it definitely made me want to diversify more. So now we opened the music studio and just doing other things, which is also driven by passion.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I've had an artist with me who was a musician first. His name is Skunk. He does a lot of touring still, and he's really a talented young artist. And I always seen his potential. And he came in, but he wanted a tattoo. But I always enjoyed his music, you know. And he said, one day I'm gonna open a studio. One day I'm gonna open a studio. And I heard him, but you know, I just was waiting until that one day. And then he came to me with a whole business plan, you know. And he was just, this is like 3 years in. And he was just like, I'm ready to invest. Would you be down to help me? So I teamed up with him, you know?
I love that. Now, speaking of just adding and diversifying your business a bit more, another question for the chat. In growing your business, for you, what's been the biggest challenge since COVID?
Well, sometimes you want to like invest in ideas and bet on yourself, but getting the capital is tough, you know? Especially after COVID. So using the Vagaro capital helped me a lot. Getting the financing to, fulfill our goals was a little tough. So having that happen showed that, like, yeah, our ideas were correct. Like, we were on the right track, but we just needed the funding, you know?
Now, I will say, you are one of our earliest adopters of Vagaro Capital. What impact did that actually have on your shop and for your business?
It boosted the morale for everybody, first and foremost. Like, we all were able to get those things we needed. You know, we were all able to put our ideas into effect on things we wanted for the shop, maybe the vision for the shop. So collectively, me and all the artists, we worked together to make the shop look how we wanted it to look. Okay. At the end of the day, that helped a lot. It also helped me invest into the barbershop to get the barbershop where I needed it to be. And it just made everything faster, you know? It made everything a lot faster. And it's really hard nowadays to get a loan from a bank. In particular, I've never had a loan from a bank. Like, for all the time I've been in business, it was always like self-invested, you know, and just scratching money up to make things happen. So it was cool that like Vagaro actually took me on, you know, and they seen that I was producing through the platform, and they like invested back, you know.
So OC, I see how Vagaro Capital and being one of the early adopters is benefiting you, but I gotta say, this is a very interesting dynamic. You have a barbershop and you have a tattoo shop. So first off, I want to know a little bit more about it. So can you tell me about the look and just the vibe? Put me in your world. What does your shop look like? What does it feel like? I really want to know.
Yeah, so when we got Vagaro Capital, we actually moved the barbershop right next door to the tattoo shop so that it can have that vibe, because before they were two separate spaces. So by doing that move, we put some sliding glass between so you can see both sides, and made it a little more interactive. And we just filled it with art. So a lot of the shop has mural art, all the artists put together. We all did a piece on filling the shop with murals. And on the tattoo side, it's a lot of like flash art you would see like in a tattoo flash book. Maybe you would want to get on your arm, you know, on a walk-in day. And then on the opposite side, we have a lot of like, it almost looks like barber flash art, where it's like barber tools that look like pop-up art, you know? And the aesthetics on both sides just match the same kind of vibe, where tattoo shops predominantly use toolboxes, you know? We put all our tools in a toolbox. We work with our hands, so we put everything in a toolbox. We have our trays, and then we just work from there. The barber's the same way. They have their toolbox. So it's like, aesthetically, we fit the same look, you know?
Okay.
And it flows well, honestly. It flows well. I like the vibe of the shop is creative. It pushes both sides to be creative.
So you get creative in your community to drive more revenue, but tell me a little bit more about what you all do for your community.
So with the community, tattoos are really expensive. Not everybody can afford them, you know? So we try to do something where we give back, where we do like a cool deal once a month. I got the idea from Friday the 13th. Every year there's like, on Friday the 13th, it's like a tattoo holiday. People do cheap tattoos. And every time we've done it, there's been lines out the door all day for tattoos. So I thought, why is it only Friday the 13th? Like, why don't we do tattoo events like once a month? So we started it. It was first Friday. Now we do it on Saturdays as well. But once a month, we bring the community out to the barbershop, to the tattoo shop, now to the music side. And we bring people out. We have food vendors, clothing comes out, like people with clothing lines, shoes, to sell their products. Like other entrepreneurs come out just to meet up with us, and we just have like a social gathering once a month.
So in that social gathering, you're also getting new prospective clients at the same time.
Absolutely.
So another way that you're like, so not only are you creating a creative concept to drive revenue into your business, you're also getting out into your community to drive revenue to your business as well.
Absolutely.
The Friday the 13th idea, I've never heard of it. That's actually pretty awesome. Is there anything else that your shop is doing that is helping to drive more people in and more visibility on it?
Well, the events are a big part. We're doing art days where it's like an invitation. There's not really gonna be an age. So like if you're a kid who wants to come draw, you could pull up and draw, have a bunch of art supplies at the shop and just bring people in to draw, Not even make it business, like just not even tattoos, just pull out some canvas, pull out some paper and just come draw with us, If you have questions, we can help you, If you're a tattoo artist, you wanna pull up, if you have questions, we can help you.
So I gotta ask you all in the chat. I hope you all are taking notes, but here's a moment where I want you all to actually interact with me. So my next question for you is also gonna be for you all as well. With everything that you're doing, what is the biggest milestone that you have hit so far, and what's the next one for you?
That's a good question. I feel like when I opened the business, that was a big milestone for me. I was young. It was the biggest goal at the time. That was a huge milestone. I think a second milestone for me was like people you look up to, like idols, I guess, walking into your shop to get a tattoo. It almost feels like, why me? Like, wait, why are you getting a tattoo by me? Football players, I'm not gonna like name drop, but like football players, boxers, people that you watch on TV walking in is like, to me, that was a milestone. I was like, okay, I'm actually doing a little something, I might have made it.
Nah, it's perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah.
So even with those big name people that come into your shop, they come back. Is there anything that you do that keeps that money revolving and keeping them, making sure that when they are ready to rebook, it's time for them to come back to you?
To me, purpose driven, like passion driven. The money's gonna come as long as you are giving someone a good experience and you're doing your best, When it's not just a transaction, they're coming, especially with tattoos, this is on you forever. So when they come in, I just do my absolute best on myself, and I just give them an experience they're happy with. Like, if they want to change something 20 times, customer's right. I'm not going to be over here fighting with you about it. Like, I'm going to change it for you because it's on you, When you're like that, when you're actually providing a service and putting your ego to the side every day, I feel like that's it. That's how you really win, I've noticed I've had bad days where I was maybe not the nicest artist, and I've noticed they don't come back. You know what I'm saying? So why be an asshole,
Indeed. So with what you do, it clearly sounds like, OC, you are really doing a lot to diversify your business, but there's somebody watching right now that's like, hey, I want to know this guy. I want to get closer to this guy. Is there anything that you do for other barbers and tattoo artists that are looking to just get better at what they do and better at their craft and grow their business?
So I've done a lot of apprenticeships, and it's like trial and error. Becoming a teacher was another thing, so learning how to teach is tough. It's like, it takes a lot of patience. And when you do something every day, it's hard to break down how you do it because you just do it, So it took a lot of asking myself a lot of questions, writing things down and really breaking down how and why I do everything. And I've been developing like a curriculum to where I can coach and help others. But it's been a long time coming, putting it together, So yeah, mentoring is a big thing. I'm gonna start doing more.
So for that person that's in Iconic 24 right now, in that live chat, and they're like, hey, mentor me, what resources do they have for you?
Well, I'm starting the coaching platform, so they can come get coached by me. And we can have one-on-one conversations.
Starting in October, right?
Yes. Yeah, so I'll be having a lot of things I can answer there about fundamentals and on how to operate business, things I've learned, pretty much all of my mistakes, I'm very open. I'm really open about my mistakes. I'm not perfect. And my whole career has been trial and error,
Absolutely. So what we're saying, so I'm just making sure I got to hear you correctly. So that person that's in this chat right now that cares about making money, they need to reach out to you to help diversify their business and grow their money. Just making sure we're on the same page.
They should. They definitely should. And talk to me. You might have a completely different idea, but I would love to hear it, and I would love to maybe talk some vision with you, help you with the branding of it, or strategize and make it come to life. Because it is hard to take that vision and make it happen, manifest it, you know? Sometimes you have a million questions. Sometimes you don't know how it's gonna work, you know? I didn't know if a studio would work, you know? How many tattoo shop barbershops have you seen together, you know? Like, you just gotta believe in yourself. And like I said, you just gotta go for it. As long as you're passionate about it, don't give up and just go for it. And I mean, I have a lot of experiences I could share, you know?
So for that person that's watching right now that is looking to figure out how do they get their business to the next level, a younger OC trying to figure out how to get his business to the next level right now, what advice would you give them?
Ooh, I would say make sure you get a good structure, first and foremost. Get a good structure and make sure you're always tightening up your system, because the system always has to change. Times are changing fast, new tools are coming out, new things are happening, the industries are changing. So adapt, tighten up your system, and just keep working, you know?
I appreciate hearing that. Like for me, when I think about growing a business and the difficulties of adding more revenue for a business, there's got to be some important principles. So for you, my next question would be, what's the most important thing that somebody who's watching this, because remember we said, hey, if you want to make more money, this is the right one for you. Yeah. So for that person, what advice do you also give them?
I think do your research on whatever you're trying to do. I mean, study. I know I was around barbershops for a long time. That's kind of why I dove into the barbershop thing. I wouldn't have just been like, I think I'm gonna open a barbershop today without doing some research, you know?
Indeed.
Having some good mentors, some good people around you. Thankfully, I'm surrounded by some good barbers and people that were able to mentor me and help me. So make sure you keep some good mentors. Make sure you're studying what you really want to get into. Bet on yourself 100%, you know?
I appreciate that. With Vagaro, how does having everything all in one software and one structure, how does that help streamline your business today?
I mean, the communication is great. I use a lot of the text and email marketing, and it keeps me in touch with all those clients. So if we have an event, I can pull all of my clients from the barbershop, the music studio, and the tattoo shop to one event, you know? You have access to all those clients. So I try to touch base with them and always have something going on, whether it's to sale for haircuts, whether it's a product in the haircut side, you know, whether it's a tattoo sale or something we're offering with the tattoo side, or studio hours, or something we have going on at the studio. I try to always use those tools because you should always keep contact with your clients. A lot of times they may have just forgot about your service, you know? So a quick little hello, a quick little holiday message, you know, a birthday message, all those things go a long way on keeping tabs with your clients and having them come back. Because it's not always about getting new clients, it's about retaining them as well.
Absolutely. And one of the ways that everybody watching right now, one of the ways that you can keep in contact with your clients is through the all-new Vagaro Connect. That is an app that you can download in the Play Store or Google App Store right now to take advantage and keep in contact with your clients. In addition to that, you mentioned reporting. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit more about how reporting is helping in that way.
Reporting is great because it shows everyone really clearly how they're performing. So if an artist has a question on how much they're making, they have a report, you know? If I can see how much tattoos they're doing, I can see how tips are going. Like literally I can see how much deposits they've made, what the clients are sending them, like what they want to get done. But you touched on Connect. I love the Vagaro Connect.
Tell me about it.
So we have a shop phone. It sucks getting a bunch of text messages and everything through the phone, or one person having it, you know? When we adapted the Connect, everyone has the app on their phone, and we can all keep track of clients. So if a client hits up the Connect and say, hey, I have my appointment for this time, can I push it, you know, an hour later or something? They can hit up the shop, and then somebody from the shop can see it, you know? So it's like, even if I didn't see the message, it was for me, one of my artists can reply, hey, let me talk to him for you, you know? And what's cool is it actually has like an icon of that person. So the client can still see who they're talking to, and it makes it really personable. It's like, oh, this other member of the shop is hitting me up right now, but they're being really friendly. And then they see me pop in, you know? Oh, hey, I'm sorry, that's fine. You can come in at that time, you know? Just as an example, but it's really nice on customer interaction because it makes it really personable. Even more than a text message, because you're literally seeing like icons of their faces, and it's like, I really like it a lot. The Vagaro Connect is like a great tool that they added.
I love it, and we hear a lot of great stories like this a lot. The Vagaro Connect is a feature that's also going to help you unlock more revenue with your business. Now, the one thing I do have to say, OC is changing the game. So if you want to be more connected to him, he is going to be a part of our Vagaro Icon Coaches program. That's going to be starting in October. So we're going to put a link in the chat. Sign up yesterday so you can be a part of it, because the insight that you're given and how your business is growing, I think people need to be connected to that, because they're here because they want to make money. So OC, look, I love our conversation, right? But I got to ask you a question. In walks in 18-year-old OC Thomas, and he comes up to you and he says, "Hey, I want to learn from you."
Yeah.
What are three things that you would want to tell young OC?
I would tell young OC, man, make sure you're passionate about it, because if you have passion behind what you're doing, you won't quit. I would also tell a young OC, be smart with your money. As soon as you start making tattoo money, it's gonna come in, but spend it wisely. Okay, don't like buy clothes. Don't buy that G35. You know what I'm saying? Buy a nice car, that's gonna be a good gas saver, and get a structure for that money. Like with a cash business, you're just gonna be holding money in your pocket, throwing it in the bank. Be smart with it, put it through a system, like keep track of it, pay your taxes, do things the right way, you know?
Now let's stay there. Let's break that down just a little bit. So a young OC is not gonna know what that structure is gonna look like. What does that look like from you as to what you would tell that young OC?
I mean, I would tell them to keep track of your books. I mean, if young OC had Vagaro around, I would say hop on Vagaro. But if he didn't have Vagaro, I would say at least, keep track of your numbers, get a spreadsheet together, and set yourself some goals. Like, know how much you're actually making. And if you're going to be in it, take it serious,
To break that down even more.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna walk into your shop and they're gonna say, because you said it's gonna take a little bit before they're seeing that profit. So what do you tell your mentees when they're at that point and they're not seeing the profit yet, but they have the passion for the business? What do you tell them to keep them going?
I mean, some hustle is going to help as well. So networking, make sure you're still hustling, whether it's a second job, if you had to, right? But I think if you're networking and you're outside, you're going to be fine. Like, if you're outside, you're meeting people and you're doing what you're supposed to do, you're going to pull people into the door. So don't sit around for it. Sometimes it's easy to just sit around, maybe post and just hope that you're getting business. But that's not always enough. You're gonna have to step outside your comfort zone,
Now that same person walks in and they're making money. What do you tell people to not get complacent, to help them drive more revenue growth and to start looking at how do I be more successful than just the base?
Well, if you're not keeping track, you're not really gonna know how much you're making. So, like I said earlier on, I didn't know how I was making 100,000 until I actually started keeping track, and I was like, oh shit, I'm making 100,000 a year, So you're not gonna know. So if you're goal oriented and you can just reach higher and higher levels, keep track, develop a system, and don't blow your money and pay your taxes. A lot of times we like to hide our money. When you have cash, like you don't want to always say how much you made, but then when it comes time to buy a house, you have no proof of income. You want to get a car, but you can't prove that you have money. So what is the point of having the money if you can't enjoy it? If you can't do what someone with a 9-to-5 making half of what you're making is doing because they have proof of income, Yeah. So do things the right way, You got to pay to play.
I love it. Now, OC, while we've had an exceptional session, everybody in the chat is saying it. The one thing I would love to ask is, you ever go to a ceremony, a wedding, anything like that, if it's great and it's impactful, you leave with a party favor.
Yes.
That party favor is that one last thing that you can give to somebody.
Yes.
So I want you to look into that camera and I want you to give us one last thing that you would say to somebody right now whose business is, they're ready to diversify, they're ready to make extra money. What would you say to them that's going to let them walk out of here and be on fire to start making that more money for their business?
If you want to make more money for your business and you have an idea you're passionate about, you got to believe in yourself 100%. Because if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else is going to. So trust that gut feeling, follow your heart, believe in yourself. If you're purpose driven, you're passion driven, you're going to succeed. You just can't quit.
Oh, see, that's an amazing answer, and I appreciate you for taking some time with me. You know you're my guy. Now, for everybody that is tuned in, please know that you're gonna see these episodes every single Monday throughout the month. So please make sure that you stay tuned in. Now, for my guy, OC, how do they follow you? How do they stay in touch with you?
So you can follow me on Instagram, it's OC Made It. You could also see my shops, Rich and Flesh Tattoo Barbershop, Rich and Flesh Media. And you can just hit me up directly. Say you see me on Vagaro if you'd like, and we can just chat. I might take a little bit to reply, but I will reply, I promise you.
Well, that's all of our time for everything today. I thank all of you for joining. And before you leave, I just need you to do one thing. Just need you all to stay iconic. We'll talk to you all soon.